Welcome back to Squawk Box. Our next guest has spent nearly 4 decades serving Britain's secret intelligence agency and also, I should say, as a diplomat, so he's been doing a lot. Richard Moore is the former chief of MI6. He stepped down in September and joins us now on set to discuss the geopolitical hotspots around the globe. We said if you told us certain things, you might have to kill us, so I don't know what you can say. I want you to take us right to the line in terms of your opinions. Where are we? I mean, when you think about geopolitically, some of the biggest things that keep you up at night right now, what would they even be?
Well, it's an extraordinarily contested world that we're in. And in 38 years I did in total as a spy and a diplomat. I've never seen the world as messy as it is now, because you've got a number of kind of loose ends. If you list them very quickly, you've got Ukraine, you've got Gaza, you've got Iran. We don't fully know what's going to happen in any of those 3 theaters. And some of the mechanisms that used to exist in the international system, led by the UN Security Council, just they don't operate anymore. So they're not able to hold the ring on some of the conflicts. So it spirals around, and it's a bit haphazard, the degree to which it then gets...
But do you think we're in a better shape? Do you think we're in better shape today than we were a year ago, given the different hotspots you're talking about?
5 years. All the Iran proxies that have been degraded.
Yeah, I think
Syria is not...
So there are definite areas for more hope.
Okay.
So, you know, the humbling of Hezbollah in Lebanon gives Lebanon a chance to emerge as a normal state. The toppling of the Assads in Syria gives a new opportunity for Syria. And we will see, for example, in Iran, whether Iran takes an opportunity for diplomacy or not. So you're quite right to point out that there are some upsides here, but overall it's a pretty uncertain world.
You did not mention China in all of this.
No.
Where does China lie in your view?
Well, you've got countries like Russia and Iran and things that are disruptors of the international system. China is trying to remake the entire international system, and that international system has served the US and its allies rather well since 1945 overall. And China is the big power, trying to reshape that. It's somebody once described Russia as a bit of a squall or a storm,
right.
And China as climate change, something that's really trying to change the entire environment.
Let me ask you... Oh, go ahead.
Did you deal... I mean, there are domestic threats, I guess, you had to deal with as well. And I think about that in this country at this point, that the enemy within... We had a couple of assassination attempts on President Trump, Charlie Kirk. What happened in Minnesota with the congressional members.
Shapiro.
Shapiro.
Nancy Pelosi's husband.
Right. So the focus of my organisation is overseas.
External.
So MI5 is the domestic service, like the FBI here. But, of course, you are looking overseas as MI6 for threats that will come from overseas and affect your country. And terrorism is, of course, the primary one that we spend a lot of time trying to intercept and make sure that people can't come to the UK and do bad stuff. And MI5 is focused on the people in the UK who are keen to do bad stuff.
So what about Al-Qaeda, ISIS? I mean, those have been marginalized, we think, anyway. Where are they?
So they are suppressed for the time being. I mean, a lot of effort over many years in Afghanistan to suppress Al-Qaeda. We're still living off that benefit. And in Iraq and Syria, we again put a lot of effort into taking ISIS down. So for the time being, they are reduced in the nature of the threat, but they haven't gone away. Their ambitions haven't gone away. And wherever there are parts of the world which are uncontrolled, they will try and regroup.
Let me ask you this. On Friday, we learned from Anthropic, one of the big artificial intelligence models, large language models, that there was an attack. Somebody used these models and effectively created agents that infiltrated governments and technology companies and all sorts of things. And so my question is, where you think both agencies like your own or agencies that the U.S. operates in, can they even compete if they don't have this technology? Do you need to have your own models that can do this, or are you going to be using off-the-shelf models like everybody else? And therefore, where does that leave the whole system?
Well, you've absolutely got to be able to compete in that space, and that will be a combination of brilliant technologists within your organization that can keep you, in our case, in the human intelligence business, recruiting and running secret agents, as you can imagine. with some of the new technologies, surveillance, tied up with AI. That's an issue. You've got to try and hide those relationships. So we can do some of it in-house, but increasingly we do it with brilliant companies. Listed
when you say you have to hide those relationships, what do you mean? You're going to have people inside these companies ultimately? Is that spies are going to...
I'm thinking more of the intelligence people you're trying to run inside Russia, inside Iran.
Right.
But those countries now use a lot of surveillance technology, much of it emanating out of China. And, of course, they're trying to integrate AI into it. So we're going to compete in that space. We have to have better technology.